Now we're going to go ahead and look at the different patterns of chords from the 5th string on, and we're going to start with the A chord. So, here's your A chord, and essentially this chord will serve as the same pattern for other types of chords all up the neck, but just using the same pattern or same shape of your hand. So, here's your A again. And then some of you might play it without the pinky on the 2nd fret B string, which would sound like. And now we're just going to use that same pattern and move it up the neck to get different chords. So notice how you use the same patterns for chords, but you get different notes out of it. So here you go. Here's your A. Here's your A sharp or B flat. Here's your B. Here's your C. C sharp. D, and you keep moving that up, and eventually you might have a G right here. Oops. Again, it's the same shape all the way up. But as you notice, like with the A, the A is essentially barred by that, and then you have your E right here. Is barred by this thing. I don't know the name of it, but when you move up the chord, so you want a B flat, it would look like this. You just put your finger there to bar or take the place of that. So, and you keep on moving it up, same shape. Cool. And then another way, what you can do to get like an inversion or a different type of sound or tone for the same note, excuse me. So like you have an A, but you want an inversion, so you want I don't really like that sound of the A chord. I kind of want like a higher sound, or maybe a lower sound, or maybe a simpler sound with it. You can manipulate or use certain parts of this pattern to get or achieve that sound you're looking for. So take the A for example, and then say, well, I don't really like the bass on it. I kind of want it to be more trebly. So you might just bar the 2nd fret D string, G string, and B string. So it would sound like this. So it's the same thing as this. Just using those notes of the A chord. Again, like you might say, well, I just want it to be a thick sound, so you might just play. That would be a power chord, same as this. Just if you want a higher tone for that chord, you might choose to leave out these two, the bass notes and just make it use the 2nd fret of the G, 2nd fret of the B, and leave the E string open, so it'd sound like this. Or if you don't like the whole bar, you use it like that, then you would just play this type. Okay, and then even if you want to be more simple or make it really high, then the A would sound like this. So you have that whole A chord, but you would only choose to play the 2nd fret of the B string and the open of the E string, so it'd sound like the rhythm guitarist is doing an A, and then you might be able to play like a lead riff using 2 or 3 notes in the same pattern. Or cool. So another popular thing a lot of artists do is they use a main chord in this pattern, like a power chord, and they combine it with its root. So let's just say you're in G and you're playing a C, and in the key of C is G is also in the key of C, and in the key of G, C is also in the key of G. So they're two very interchangeable chords. So a riff that a lot of people like to use is starting with your G, using the 2nd half of it, so of G, and then you can make it a C by putting your pinky down on the 5th of the G string to make it sound So you might get a riff that might be like that, because this is a C because it takes on the same as the power chord, same pattern or same shape, but you're again only using the second half of it. So, and you can use this same shape all the way up the neck. So like here, like with your A, you can play these 3 notes, and then this could be a C, a D, an E, and then still using the same pattern like with the A chord. You can even make another like inversion, different form of the note to give you a different tone as well. Let's just say you want to use the G, the B, and the E string. So you want like a higher pitched inversion or different type of tone for a chord. So like for an A, let's say you just want to play the G, B, and E. So that's the type of tone you would get rather than like, so take off the bass. Like with your C, you might, same form. See, this is barred right there, so if you want to bring it up, it'd sound like, it's your B, so it's your C. So, you know, maybe like a riff, or maybe even a chord would sound like, or even a chord. That's your C. And then D. And that's an E, of course. Basic pattern of like the A. You can get different types of tones using different parts of the chord. So like, again, just to recap, you can use a full chord. You know, you can either take off the pinky, so it sounds like, you can use the power chord, which would be, could use half of it, which would be just the barring the 3 notes, 2nd fret of the D, G, and B. So it sound like, you can also use, or, so this is just a couple of different forms from that particular A shape on the 5th string.